Yeah, I started recording. I will share my screen. Everybody able to see my screen?
Yes, Satish.
Okay, fine. Intentionally, I do not want to put any PPTs as such. I want to stick to IDs as much as possible to keep it tight. I will start with one of the questions that our audience asked yesterday. What is the use of learning compilers? What is the use of using learning garbage collectors? Why should I know Graal VM or whatever it is? Okay. Now I'll just take the use case. Probably we will take it reactively based on the audience feedback. Before I start, I just want to understand how many of you really use CI/CD or develop CI/CD apart from interviews. Practice it in daily life. Anybody?
I have set up once CI/CD for a small project.
Okay, very good. Who's this?
This is Gagan. I have done it on TeamCity.
TeamCity. Okay, Gagan did it with TeamCity.
And we are using
Narayan, you're using what tool?
we are using OpenShift and this one udeploy and Jenkins.
Okay, fine. Okay. So now first let me answer this question. Okay. I have a problem. Okay. I have an application which is developed by two different teams. So they work with different culture altogether. So this is team number 1, this is team number 2. And then I finally deployed it as my application. My application is app.jar and my user is really angry because he's seeing that every request that he sends, it takes around 2 minutes. So how do I optimize this? Where do I start it? One use case is I can think, okay, I will talk to this team. I understood that in between their code, they use lot of wrapper classes. That is integer instead of int. So this I want to change. What do? I will ask the team. I will sit with the team, explain them the problem, good habits and all those stuff, and then they will do it this one. But ultimately, what I'm trying to solve, I'm trying to make sure the user is taking the request that user is making. It's making 2 minutes, and I want to reduce it as much as possible. That is my primary case. Okay. Now I am a DevOps engineer. As a good DevOps engineer, what I will do is I will complain, escalate it to the team, and then saying that I want to simplify this. This team is not doing a good job. This team is not doing a good job. Now, before we get into this, let us just understand what are the players here. Are these three the players, or there are something else also here? Between the user to my team, is there anything else available here? Anybody else missing?
Yes, if we use a better way of compiling, app.jar could be optimized.
Okay. So you are saying, why don't you consider a pre-step? Because with compiler only we are making it. That is a pre-step, right? Let us get one level before. Okay.
Right.
Ultimately, it is running in say for example CentOS. Okay. But let us get even further. Ultimately, this is running in an i5 2 GB RAM or whatever it is. Some hardware architecture. ARM processor, I don't know about the hardware, but I'm just giving some names. Okay, is this stopping? No, actually here it is coming from a network. After that only it reaches finally my place. And if you are a good DevOps engineer, probably the first thing that they will see to solve the performance problem, not to looking into people, but they will look into solutions. So here you can get better out of it. So you have already developed the software. This is your software, and it's hard to change the software. There are two problems. One is the software that you made, it's made with multiple team members. And then this app.jar might depend on some third-party libraries, which you have no control with. But one that you have control with, that is ultimately it is running on a JVM. So in fact, it is running on a JVM on top of OS. So optimize JVM as much as possible. Then take better use of your OS. How many settings that you need to do, process affinity and all those stuff. And then understand your architecture and make sure you buy a proper hardware. If your system is memory heavy, buy more memory. If your system is storage heavy, buy more storage. And then optimize your network. That is how we'll do DevOps. Sorry, that is how we'll improve the performance. This is one thing. So what I'm saying here is that there is a purpose that you need to learn this garbage collector, Graal VM and all those stuff, because these things that if you know you can optimize it, you can get for free. Most of your performance optimization and maintenance optimizations. So that is the place where this is actually coming into picture. This is first question. Now coming to the second questions. So now I'm using CD. So I'm using all these tools. So do I follow CD? Maybe or may not be. Let us consider the practical use cases. Okay. I worked in an organization and we had microservices development and all those stuff. And we use Jenkins, AWS, Ansible, whatever technology that you mean, they continuously deploy, including a branch pull request, hard fixes that you do, they deploy. They do continuous integration. How much time that they take to make the complete build? Each build take just 50 minutes of time. Okay, is there any purpose that we do this AWS, Jenkins, all this? Is there anything wrong with this?
Anything wrong with this, you're saying?
Okay. I am taking 50 minutes to build my software, which means the purpose of continuous integration is you need to give continuous feedback, correct?
Yes.
That is why you do CA. CD is different, okay? But CA is, the thing is you are making a software and you need to integrate it continuously. The reason that you are integrating continuously is because you want to give the feedback. You are not integrating continuously because just for the sake of integrating continuously, correct? So now if you are taking 50 minutes, consider I made a label change. The label was something like name in the UI, and then the major change that I did to my this one is I made this to first name, and all that I need to do is 50 minutes of time. Now tell me, is this correct or wrong?
That's not working.
Yeah,
It's not good.
It's not good.
probably missing ambient cache.
Yeah, okay. So the thing is, the problem is the pipeline is complex. Now the solutions that you have here, they all say, okay, we are there to even make your complex pipeline work better, okay? But the thing that we need to ask from our side is, why is my pipeline complex? This is what we are going to see. In fact, we'll see it in detail next week. This is just an preview of what we are going to see. So what we are going to do next week is, we will do CI/CD. And the thing is, we will not use any of these tools. We will not use Jenkins. We will not use Kubernetes. What other tool that we will use for this one? We will not use, consider we will not use any tools apart from your machines. We will try to do CI/CD. But the purpose that you need to keep is, if you are doing continuous integration, your feedback matters. If you are doing continuous deployment, your deployment time, that is business people call time to market, matters. If you don't meet these two targets, even if you are using cloud, all this latest technology doesn't matter. We will see what is the place where we are actually making a mistake. In fact, if you look at this cloud cost, you can reduce quite a bit of money for your company if you just think about optimizing your build pipeline. Because if you put your Jenkins in cloud, be wary of this. Every time Jenkins runs the process, it's eating up your memory. It's eating up your organization's money. So we will see how we are losing money, how we can save money in detail next week. But overall, this is the idea of CI/CD. This is why we are doing CI/CD.
Okay. Satish, sorry to interrupt. I think, could you elaborate a bit on what feedback is, just with an example for the audience?
Okay. So feedback is, for example, your test case is your feedback. You make a change, your compiler is a feedback. Your changes are compiled or not. When you're working in a team, if you're making a change and somebody else also modified the code and there's a conflict of change, the conflict should be given as a feedback, right? These are all the feedback. That is why we continuously integrate. You develop a software, every time a software gets a change, we continuously integrate that and then give the feedback that, guys, this compiled properly or not, the test cases are executed properly or not, the integration test cases are working properly or not, your branches has merge conflict or not. These are all the feedback that you need to give. That is why we do continuously integrate.
Yes, and also like what do you say? Anything is broken or not by mistake.
Yes. Basically, what is the thing? In a software, the more the defects stay with your software, the costlier that it gets into. The earlier that you know the defect, better you can solve it. Right? If you identify a defect in development, say for example, it takes 5 rupees of money. In production, in pre-production, probably it takes 10 minutes because 10 rupees because it takes that much of people. That in production it costs you even so much. So you need to get the feedback as early as possible. That is why CA is important. And CD is not just a CA. CA is one part of CD. CD is relatively a broader scope. CA is relatively easy. CD is complex. Complex because CD is very, very specific to your team, your domain, your technology.
Yes.
Satish, this is Harish here.
Yeah.
I want to ask, I've heard people saying that they deploy their code on daily basis in production, like maybe 6 hours, once in 6 hours or 3 times in 6 hours. How do they do that?
Okay. So like this, if you have your process optimized, you have all your checklist automated, then you'll have the confidence of opening up your business yearly to your customer, correct?
Okay.
Same way, so the CD is not something like you decide today, you deliver it tomorrow. No, because every time you deliver it, you will have the fear factor, right? Whether my software will work or not.
Yeah.
Okay, when you lose the fear factor, if you are very confident of your software and you have checklisted, you trust your people, you trust your system, you trust your infrastructure, then you will release often. Correct. That is what the people that you are talking about. If they are releasing it within 6 hours, consider it is not like they reached it one day. They took so much of checkpoint and all those stuff, and then they reached it. Did I answer your question, or I escaped? What did they do? If you want, I'll tell you what did they do. Okay.
I mean,
so,
if it is irrelevant, so then we can speak later.
Yeah. Okay. Probably it is a broader scope, but I will just cover it. Okay. You need to have your test cases properly. Test cases will not mature immediately whenever you add a new feature. Okay. Majority of the time, it is taken for your software, right? It is not for the feature that you add actually. Frankly, where do you test most of your time? Is it for your feature? For example, if I'm adding a feature that is very small, will it be sufficient just to test my feature? You need to test the overall system, right? You need to do a lot of regression. Regression is the keyword. So if you have a setup which can, if I make a change and that setup says within 10 minutes saying that, okay, your change is safe to go, then you can go easily. So the test cases and the process, for example, your process includes even when you commit your changes to Git, there is a process called Git flow. And that is like kind of a matured flow where any of your change without being reviewed, without being test cases passing, it cannot get into commit. So that is one thing. Like this, you will put lot of checkpoints. And if you really want to go to that level, who all are responsible for that? If you want to go there, if you want to release often, so your developers and QA should be really good, right? They should be sufficient. Or anybody else.
Product manager?
Your product managers, your business analytics, your QA, your release engineers, your developer, everybody is responsible for continuous deployment. They all should have well-defined roles. We'll see that in live. In fact, I can demo you one matured simple product where continuous deployment is working, right from UI, API, and all this. So that I will demo. If you are interested.
Thank you.
Okay, so slightly off topic, but I'll just consider this is very important to understand. If you really want to understand about CD, probably I will tell you one area that you can look into. It's kind of a different story altogether, but let us just see what is your thoughts on this. Hope everybody knows Sadapti train. We have 2 Sadapti trains from Bangalore, correct, to Chennai. 2 Sadapti trains are there from Bangalore, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Are there 2 trains?
Yeah, yes, Satish. Yes.
One is from Mysore, one is from Bangalore. Okay.
Correct.
Now, are these 2 trains, 2 different trains? There is one Mysore train, there is one Bangalore train. In reality?
No.
No, sir.
Okay.
Actually, one train.
There is only one train. Okay. There is train 1. There is train 2. Okay, and you provide 2 services. The service number 1 is Bengaluru Chennai is one service. Mysore Chennai is another service. Okay, now you have, these are all your resources. These are all the services that you want to provide. Okay, how do you effectively utilize these resources? Because you want to make sure this train has enough rest time for maintainability and all those stuff. Now, if I just give train number 1 to Bangalore Chennai, very simple, right? There's no problem here. Just to give this one, everything works perfect, right? Or do you see any problem here? Either this Mysore train is like it comes to Bangalore and then it goes to Chennai. Again from Chennai it comes to Bangalore and goes to Mysore. Any problem in this assignment?
Second one is basically the extension of a route.
He travels only 600 kilometers every day. But this poor guy, this train too has to travel, say for example, 1000 kilometers. Because at 1000 kilometers, 200 kilometers extra for Mysore. Okay. But if I plan effectively, what I can do is train number 1 has 2 trips every day. Starts from Mysore, starts from Bangalore, and then it goes to Chennai. Once it reaches Chennai, from Chennai, it starts and then come to Bangalore, and then it goes to Mysore and halt at Mysore. This is train 1. Train 2 starts from Mysore, reaches Chennai, starts from Chennai, reaches Bangalore, take halt. What we achieved just now with this arrangement?
Both are traveling with the same distance.
Yeah. So you are sharing your resources properly. Okay. Now consider this train is nothing but your virtual machines. This is nothing but your microservice or apps service or whatever it is. And this is also important when you think about delivery. Okay, this is one thing. Second thing, this trains, if you observe this trains don't stop in the station. If you look at where is that? Trains do not stop. Diesel trains, right? Diesel trains not. Has anybody observed this? Your trains in the station will not be switched off every time they reach. For example, the Shatabrati train, if it goes there, it will not switch off. It will be in the on state. Even 1 hour, 2 hours, they'll be wasting their fuel, and then they'll start. What is the purpose?
Initial starting cost.
Starting cost is quite heavy actually. Okay, the starting cost, consider not just the money. Maybe starting takes more time, and you want to give proper efficiency to your team. Okay, that is nothing but in your systems. Every time you create a virtual machine, it takes some time. That is, you can call it as a warm up time. Okay, if you really want to use your systems effectively, you should consider your warm up time also, because ultimately you are not paying for keeping a system ideal or creating a virtual machine. That cost you don't want to do. So you need to keep up you need to count for the warm up time of your machines also. Okay, just keep it in mind. We'll just keep it for now. But when we cover the topic next week, somehow you can relate this. Okay, so that is all from me today.